Greedfall 2 looks like it has taken everything we love about Dragon Age Origins and made it even better. This upcoming sequel might just be the Dragon Age Origins successor we've all been waiting for. Stick around, because I will explain in detail how Greedfall 2 could fill the void Dragon Age Origins left in our hearts. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I talk about single-player RPGs regularly. There's also membership perks available. Do check them out. Greedfall 2 is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated titles in the RPG world. For those who maybe missed the first game, the first Greedfall had players exploring the beautifully crafted island of Tir-Fradi, I hope I said that right, filled with political intrigue, magic, and of course some cool character interactions. Seriously, check the game out if you haven't played it yet. It's a very underrated game. Naturally, with the sequel on the horizon, fans of the title are buzzing with excitement. If you are a fan of Origins, you'd be buzzing too, if you watch the still images and teasers of the game. The first title was released in 2019. It was developed by Spiders, a French indie studio with a unique ensemble of games. More recently, Steel Rising. All Spiders games are produced and developed using the company's Silk engine. Greedfall was a narrative-driven experience that combined exploration and deep character interactions. The game received a warm reception from RPG fans, praised for its rich storytelling and world-building. Some gameplay mechanics that could have used a little more polish, and left players wanting for more. Overall, it was an original and enjoyable 7 out of 10 experience. Greedfall set the stage for a sequel by establishing its setting of the island paradise. Greedfall 2 is poised to build on that foundation and take it to the next level. But the twist here is that the sequel has completely revamped the gameplay. The upcoming sequel is a surprising departure from its predecessor. Spiders have completely dumped the hack-and-slash gameplay of the first game, implementing a tactical combat style that takes heavy inspiration from Dragon Age Origins. It's almost unrecognizable from the first Greedfall game. All companions can now be controlled and given orders. Like any other CRPG, each character has a set of skills that sit on the bottom of the screen. Your companions will perform a basic auto-attack when left alone. Players can directly control them by clicking on their portraits and queue up their skills. Special abilities use action points, which are recharged by letting off attacks. Players can also press the spacebar at any point to pause the action entirely, what we call real-time with pause in game terms, and line up commands that way. It's now much more about controlling the flow of combat than getting up and close and personal with enemies, similar to what we loved in Dragon Age. This allows for tactical decision-making during intense battles. For CRPG fans, the ability to pause battles makes it easier for actually executing combat strategies, letting you reposition your companions in desired positions. An example would be putting your ranged character in the back line while lining up your fighter to hit as many enemies at once in the front. Speaking about similarities, the sequel looks like it will be even more narrative-driven than the first game. Just like Dragon Age, Greedfall 2 promises a grim and darker version of the first game world when we look at the footage of the sequel. The story even sounds like it has taken an even more serious tone. Greedfall already addressed actual real-life socio-political issues, but when we consider that in Greedfall 2, players no longer take on the role of a colonizer coming to a foreign land. Instead, we will inhabit the role of a native inhabitant. That makes a major tonal difference. The horrors of outsiders coming to your place and putting you in the chains is obviously more serious than playing as a colonizer who travels to the newly settled island of Tir-Fradi, Freddy, to serve as legate to Prince Constantine d'Orsay. Dragon Age Origins also dealt with real-life issues. It addressed various societal taboos in its fantasy setting. That's why it touched so many hearts of players and stayed with everyone after all these years. It had guts to talk about topics that no longer are talked about. Origins was not afraid of letting the player fail. Choices had consequences, affecting everything from character relationships to the fate of entire nations. Some quests made you cringe in disgust. You actually felt the weight of your actions. That's why it was good. While new games seem to play things a lot safer, Greedfall looks like it will give us the heart-wrenching moments that Origins gave us with its quests and its cinematics. Similarities are not limited to narrative and combat. When we look at the visuals, woo boy! Greedfall 2 art style and attention to detail in environments reminds me of the breathtaking and horrific landscapes we explored in Thetis. If you are a fan of that aesthetic charm of Dragon Age, Greedfall 2 is definitely looking to capture that magic. So why the total reinvention of the wheel? Well, it was not something Spiders woke up one day and decided to do. The developers have explained that the decision came from fan feedback. Greedfall fans loved the first game's companions, but some wanted more control over them in combat. Spiders agreed with that feedback and looked to make a sequel that would better emphasize teamwork rather than making companions feel like brain-dead AI pawns. Considering that Greedfall's fan base held a general appreciation of BioWare games like Dragon Age, Spiders felt like the combat change would be a natural fit. While the first game had intriguing stories, there were gameplay mechanics that could feel clunky at times. Will the sequel address these concerns? There's also the big question of whether it can truly match the narrative depth and character complexity of a franchise as beloved as Dragon Age. Spiders says that it's only launching about 30% of the full game into early access. They will be doing regular updates that'll likely have players eager to start again with more tools. The broad strokes are there, but fan feedback will be crucial to filling in the details. It's a smart move for Spiders, which is embarking on an early access plan for the first time here. The studio seemed to recognize obvious improvements it could have made to the first Greedfall once fans raised them, but it was too late by then. A more flexible development cycle should allow the team to make an RPG that better suits its players' needs. If all goes well, Greedfall 2 could become the studio's true breakout game. So why do I believe Greedfall 2 holds so much promise as the Dragon Age sequel we've been long waiting for? The core elements that made Origins special, narrative depth, character development, and immersive world building, are all present and accounted for. If the team can refine the gameplay and deliver a captivating story, we might just have a new masterpiece on our hands that honors the legacy of Dragon Age Origins, while carving its own unique path. The excitement is real, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Now I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Greedfall 2? Do you think it can deliver that Dragon Age experience we've been all craving? Drop your opinions in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the like button, as it helps a lot. I will see you soon.